Hey dear students, good morning, and this is Rupesh, and today I'm going to teach you quadratic equations. Quadratic equations for class 10th, right? So let's start without wasting any time. Let's begin with our video lecture, right? So before proceeding to quadratic equations, I would like to tell you what are equations first. So what are equations? In according to mathematics, what are equations? So in mathematics, an equation is a statement that asserts the equality of two expressions. In mathematics, an equation is a statement that asserts the equality of two expression, right? Suppose I take one expression as ax plus b, another expression as cx plus d, and when they are equated to each other, then they form an equation. So this is an equation. Is it clear? Now in equation, you must have studied polynomial. Like polynomials, there were polynomials like linear polynomials were there, quadratic polynomials were there, biquadratic polynomials were there, cubic polynomials were there. So in the same way, the equations are also there, right? If the equation, suppose there is an equation ax plus b is equal to 0. So here in this equation, we are taking this equation in x, means x is a variable and rest all are constants. So a will be a constant here and b will be a constant here. What is the variable here is x. The variable here is x. Now you have to see for the highest power of the variable. Now you have to see for the highest power of the variable, and the highest power of the variable here is 1. The highest power of the variable here is 1. So the highest power is 1. Therefore this sort of an equation is called as a linear equation. Linear equations are those equations which have the highest power of the variable as 1, or which have degree equal to 1. Is it clear? Now suppose I have another equation, say ax square, sorry, just give me a minute. Ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So here again we are taking the equation in x. So a is the constant, b is the constant, and c is the constant. Here what are the variables? Variable is x is the variable and x is the variable, right? Now look for the highest power of the variable, and here I can see the highest power of the variable as what? As 2. The highest power of the variable is 2. The highest power of the variable is 2. So this sort of equation is called as a quadratic equation. This sort of an equation is called as a quadratic equation, right? So this is a quadratic equation because the highest power of the variable is 2, or you can say the degree of the equation is 2. When the degree of the equation is 2, or the highest power of any variable is 2, then the equation is called as the quadratic equation, right? Then an equation is called as a quadratic equation. Is it clear? Now if the highest power of the variable is 3, then it is cubic. If the highest power of the variable is 4, then it's biquadratic, and so on, right? So here we are interested only in quadratic equations right now, because I am teaching the topic of quadratic equation, right? Now let's understand one thing, that if suppose you are provided with a linear equation, like suppose if you are provided with a linear equation, and the linear equation is like 5x plus 10 is equal to 0, right? Now let's solve this. So it will be like 5x is equal to minus 10, because when the 10 will go that side, then the 10 will go that side, it will become of minus. Then x is equal to minus 10 upon 5, and that is equal to minus 2. So x, you have the value of x as minus 2. Now you have the value of x as minus 2. The answer is minus 2. So x is minus 2. X is what? X is minus 2, right? Is it clear? Now let's take another equation. I'm taking a quadratic equation like x square plus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. Like suppose I'm taking this equation, right? Now let's solve this one. Like let's solve this equation. I'm taking another color to solve the equation, right? So here all of you know how we have to factorize the equation and solve it. So we are going to find out numbers which have the product equal to 6, right? We are going to find out the numbers which have the product equal to 6. And if some of the students don't know how to solve a quadratic equation by factorization method, so when I'll be bringing the sums and when I'll be explaining more about the topic, I'll be telling you how to solve the quadratic equations by the use of factorization method, right? So this is just a lecture. I'm giving the introduction to quadratic equation. I'm going to tell you some very important points about the quadratic equation in this class, right? So first you have to find out the product, the number. You have to find out the numbers which should have a product equal to 6, and the summation of the number should be equal to 5. So what are those numbers? Those numbers are 3 and 2. 3 and 2, when you will product 3 and 2, that will give you 6, and when you're going to add up 3 and 2, that is going to give you 5. So the factors will be 3 and 2, right? Is it clear? So let's solve this. X square, I can say plus 3x plus 2x plus 6 is equal to 0. Now let's take x common from here. So x plus 3, it will be like this, plus we will take 2 common, then it will be x plus 3 again is equal to 0. Is it clear? Now here you can take x plus 3 as common from both the terms. So x plus 3 is common here, and this will be like x plus 2. From here you will get x, and from here you will get 2 is equal to 0. Now the product of two now the product of two terms is equal to 0. So either of the term can be 0, right? X plus 3 can also be 0, x plus 2 can also be 0, or both can be zeros. We don't know which one is going to be 0 because the product is coming equal to 0. By the product of two numbers is equal to 0, then one of the number is 0 or both the numbers are 0, right? This is simple mathematics. X into y is equal to 0. That means either x or y will be equal to 0. Either x is 0 or y is 0. Otherwise both are 0, right? So we don't know whether x plus 3 will be 0 or x plus 2 will be 0 or both are zeros, right? So let's check. If x plus 3 is equal to 0, then the value of x is minus 3, or if x plus 2 is equal to 0, then the value of x is equal to minus 2. Now what you have seen here in while solving a quadratic equation, we got two different values of x. Right now, right? So when you are solving a quadratic equation, in a quadratic equation, the solutions of x, there will be two solutions for x. Is it clear? For a linear equation, there will be one solution of x. For a cubic equation, there will be three solutions of x. For a biquadratic equation, there will be four solutions. If the equation is having a power of 5, then it should have 5 solutions. If a equation is having power as 9, then it should have 9 solutions. If the power of the equation is n, then it should have n solutions, right? So got the point? So in quadratic equation, you are going to get two solutions, and those solutions will be also called as the roots of quadratic equation. They are also called as the roots of quadratic equation. Is it clear? Are you getting my point? तो आई होप समझ आ रहा होगा भाई सबको. तो what I was saying is that these are called as the roots, and the quadratic equation will have two solutions. Now those two solutions can either be same, or they can be equal, right? Equal and same has the same meaning. So equal or same, the quadratic equation have both the solutions of the quadratic equation can be same, right? They can be different, like in the above case, they can be different, and they can be imaginary also. So these are the things which we are going to discuss in our later lectures, right, afterwards, right? So this is what you have got. So quadratic equation will have two solutions. Now I'm giving you a question. See, a question is there. It is written as x square minus 4 is equal to 0. X square minus 4 is equal to 0. Now x square minus 4 is equal to 0. So how many solutions will this have? Like suppose x square minus 4x is 0. I have given one equation this way, right? So, and one equation I have given, I'll take two equations and I'll clear something very important for you. So let's take, if I have given you x square is equal to 4, one equation, and I have given you another equation as x is equal to root of 4. Now what will be the answer of these two equations? Will it be same or will it be different? What are the solutions of these equations, right? So here, how to solve this one? you're going to solve this way. X square minus 4 is equal to 0, because this is a quadratic equation. The variable, the highest power to x, the variable is having the highest power as 2. So this is a quadratic equation. This is a quadratic equation, isn't it? So it should have two answers, not one answer. Beta, you got what you do earlier. Sometimes you used to write this way: x is equal to x square is equal to 4, and x is equal to root of 4, and that is x is equal to 2. So that is wrong. It will be plus minus 2. It will be plus minus 2. I'll tell you how it will be plus minus 2. See, so it you're going to write this x square is equal to 4. It can be written as x square minus 4 is equal to 0. Now you can apply the formula of a square minus b square. This can be written as x square minus 2 square is equal to 0, and this will be x plus 2 into x minus 2 is equal to 0, right? Now either this will be equal to 0 or this will be equal to 0. So x plus 2 is equal to 0 here, then x is equal to minus 2. And if x minus 2 is equal to 0, then x is equal to 2, then x is equal to 2, or x is equal to minus 2. So how you have to solve this one? In a simpler way, if you want, you can write this way also. X square is equal to 4 if it is written, x square is equal to 4 it is written, then you can write it as x square is equal to 4, then x square x is equal to, not x square, x is equal to under root plus minus under root of 4, and x is equal to plus minus 2. It will have two solutions because it's an quadratic equation. It's a quadratic equation, sorry, right? So a quadratic equation will always have two solutions. Is it clear? Now let's move on to the other example I have taken. Now here in this one, this is not a quadratic equation. This is a linear equation. Here's the, this one is the linear equation. It says x is equal to root of 4. Therefore x will only be equal to plus 2. So remember, root of 4 is plus 2. Under root of 4, if you are finding, that is plus 2. But it is x square is equal to 4. So this is a different thing. This is a quadratic equation because it says x square is 4. It says the number x when squared means the number x is that number of which you are going to find out the square of will give you 4. So either it can be minus 2 because the square of minus 2 is also 4, and 2, the square of 2 is also 4. So this is a quadratic equation. It says the number x is that number which when squared will give you 4. Is it clear? So this is a quadratic equation, and this one, x is equal to root 4, x is equal to root 4 is a linear equation. Is what? It's a linear equation. And here the solution of this one will be simply x is equal to 2. So remember that it's written as root of 4 is 2, not plus minus 2. Root of 4 is 2. If it is written like x is square is equal to 4, so how you solve it? You write it x is equal to plus minus, you write outside, then you write under root of 4. So this gives you plus minus 2. Is it clear? I have made it very clear that this is a quadratic equation and this one is a linear equation. So don't ever get confused. These are the very small and simple points which can be asked in objectives, right? So it's very important, right? Now another important thing I would like to tell you, suppose there is an equation 4x square minus 2x is equal to 0. Suppose this is an equation, right? Sometimes what we used to do in the earlier classes, sometimes we used to like 4x square is equal to minus 2x, or sorry, plus 2x, because when this minus 2x will go, that side will become plus 2x. Then we used to cut this 2 by 2, so it will 2 times it will go in 4, right? And this square is going to cut x, and it will be like 2x is equal to how much? Then 2x is equal to how much? That 2x is equal to 1, because everything is cancelled out by 1. So x is equal to 1 upon 2. So this is how we used to solve earlier, and we used to get only one answer, right? But this is not exactly the right method to solve it, because now we know that this is not a linear equation, this is the quadratic equation. So it should be like 4x square minus 2x is a quadratic equation. It's a quadratic equation. It's not a linear one. It's a quadratic one. ठीक. So how you have to solve a quadratic equation? What you are going to do? You are going to take 2x as common. You are going to take 2x as common, right? You will take 2x as common. Then it will leave 2x here. In this term, it will leave 2x, and minus 1 is equal to 0. Is it clear? Now the product of these two terms is equal to 0. Now the product of these two terms is equal to 0. Is it clear? So either this term, the first, this one, that the turning it, I'm making different color, the red term, this one, and the product of this term is basically the product of these two terms is equal to 0. So either the term that is 2x, which you can see in red, is 0, or the term 2x minus 1 will be 0, or both will be 0. So 2x is equal to 0 if suppose, then x is equal to 0 by 2, or you can simply say x is equal to 0. So one answer is x is equal to 0, right? Or this 2x minus 1 is equal to 0, then 2x is equal to 1. Why? Because when this 1 will go that side, it will become of plus, then x will be equal to 1 by 2. Is it clear? So this is also a quadratic equation. So any equation which has the highest power of the variable as 2 is called as a quadratic equation, and the quadratic equation will always have two solutions. And one solution here you can see in this equation, the one solution is 0, but it's a solution, right? It's a solution, and this one is also a solution. So got the point that the quadratic equation will always have two solutions. So I hope you all have understood the lecture well, and I'll be bringing more interesting lectures, and I'll be teaching you more about quadratic equation in my forthcoming lectures. So my dear students, stay tuned with me and stay home, stay safe. See you then. Bye bye.